Welcome everyone to this session about data lakes in the real world. Today's topic is how at Acquia we've been building an open, data-first, and machine learning forward platform. Acquia is based in Boston and is one of the leading cloud platforms for building, delivering, and optimizing digital experiences. A few words about myself. My name is Arnaud Prades. I am the Director of Machine Learning for Acquia Marketing Cloud. Since I started my career, I have always worked in data in countries like France, Spain, Sweden, and now the United States. At the end of the day, what I like doing is really combining data and software to build cool stuff. And I have done so in fields like customer intelligence, logistics, dynamic pricing, or algorithmic trading. And now, without further ado, let's jump right in. So today's presentation will be divided in three sections. Number one, we'll have a look at the type of challenges that we've been facing in building a platform which is open, data first, and machine learning forward. Then we'll have a look at the key lessons that we learned in that journey, which is, by the way, still ongoing. And finally, we will focus on machine learning and especially look at how we've been applying those recipes and lessons to implement our machine learning framework. First, I will start with a quick introduction about Acquia Marketing Cloud. So Acquia Marketing Cloud helps marketing teams understand, personalize, and engage with users on any channel. What we do is very simple. It's three things. Number one, we take data from different silos, email, transactions, web, etc., and we centralize that data. We then, number two, provide intelligence on top of it using analytics and machine learning. And finally, we leverage that intelligence and we provide the tools to orchestrate intelligent campaigns on the different channels so that the customer journey is enhanced and optimized. When we decided to build this platform, we had three founding principles. We wanted it to be data first, open, and machine learning forward. What does that mean exactly? Data first means that the data is powering every single component, insights, actions in the product. Opens means for us being open about our technological choices. And for the client, it means that they can buy only what they need and what they want. And they are not tied to buying an entire suite of products and components they will not need in their marketing efforts. And machine learning forward means being lazy and letting the machine do the work. So really, whenever possible, we want the machine to describe, predict, and prescribe what should be done. So when you build such a platform, you're going to encounter challenges. If you want to be data first, you will have data everywhere. You will have data as an input of your product, you will have data at the core, and you will have data in the output, trying to export the data to other systems. So very common challenges here that we are facing, and you are probably facing as well, is how do you maintain many integrations with third-party software? How do you deal with the infamous data batch versus real time? How do you balance between synchronous and asynchronous behavior? And obviously, most important is how do you secure your data at every single step, starting from when the data enters your platform up to when it leaves it. You will have data everywhere, and also you will have data, a lot of it. So just to give you a sense of scale, we at Acquia, we maintain and dedupe about 1 billion customer profiles, manage thousands of customers across the entire suite of products of Marketing Cloud, process billions of events every day, and we make 1 billion predictions in machine learning every single day as well. Here, the challenges are very known and common. So how do you intelligently store the data? How do you scale up, down, so that you are cost efficient, but at the same time you meet your SLOs? And how do you manage many configurations? Because every single customer is going to be different, and they will have a slightly different experience with your product. The other founding principle was open. For us, it means a couple things. Number one, we are implemented on both AWS and GCP. There are obvious benefits to it. So you do not have vendor lock-in. You can have an enhanced integration with clients' existing solutions if they are in one of those clouds. But mostly, you will have challenges of like dealing with multiple interfaces. Whether you are a UI user or an API user, interface will be different. You will need different types of skill sets, and it's a pain, usually you will not be able to leverage the cloud native services that those vendors provide as easily as you would if you'd be on a single cloud. Open for us also means that when it makes sense, we will favor open source. So Acquia is very committed to open source. Our founder, Dries, was the founder also of the Drupal project, and Acquia is the main contributor of the Drupal project. We are also very invested contributor in Mautic, which is an open source marketing automation tool. So typically here in the machine learning team, and you will see that in more details after, we are using Airflow, we are using Spark, we are using MLflow, all of them being open source. And here you will face challenges like, how do you handle the lack of support? How do you manage uncertainty about the maintenance? And did you bet on the right horse? And is that horse going to be here in 2 or 3 years? Or is the project going to die on its own? So these are real challenges with open. And finally, the last founding principle is ML4. Because we will do a stronger focus on that, I'll be quick. But at the end of the day, what we want to provide is personalization everywhere, which means how do you ensure that you provide the right content to the right person at the right time on the right channel? And to do that, you first have to start with the why. You set a goal, and then based on the goal and what you want to optimize, you will get to choose those 4 different dimensions. So now that we've set the stage and we've better understood the challenges, let's look at the key recipes we've been using. So the goal here is not to cover every single challenge and provide solutions to each of them. The reality is that in this summit, you will find a lot of answers to those questions. And I really encourage everyone to look at the other sessions to find those answers. What I've been wanting to do here is really boil it down to the core. What is the essence of what we've done and the principles, the recipes we've been applying? It boils down to 2 things only. Number 1, think managed. Number 2, limit the number of interfaces. Let me explain in more details what I mean by think managed and limit interfaces. So I like Venn diagrams. Please have a look at the Venn diagram on the left. You will see 3 circles. There is the blue one, which is what you need to build your product. There is the red one, which is what you are good at. Hopefully, there is a significant amount of overlap between the 2. But the most important thing here is that what you should be focusing on is the yellow. And only the yellow. The yellow being what you are very good at and what makes you stand out from the competition. Because at the end of the day, there's a couple truths that are self-evident, which are, number 1, you should think about opportunity cost. What could your team work on if it was not on that maintenance issue? What could they work on if it was not on maintaining that old framework that you built 5 years ago and now that is available, that could be replaced easily by choosing the right solution? Number 2, and that's the very first thing that software engineers learn, but is not often followed when architecting and going through a buying process, is do not reinvent the wheel. Because engineering teams often like to build stuff for the sake of building it, it's true. And engineers are very optimistic creators. So they tend to underestimate the amount of time it will take. So instead of doing and building everything yourself, you should always think, is there a vendor out there that can provide the managed solution to what I'm not very good at? And what you should be doing, and what we've been doing and applying, and you'll see that in later slides, is we've been buying products, but not services though. Because at the end of the day, a service provider is most likely to be not much better at the 100 services that they sell than you are. And number two, when you buy those products, you should keep control. And you should buy solutions that are open, and you will be able to really understand, configure them, and make them work for you. Do not take a leap of faith. Do not buy a black box. So that's the theory. Now, how did we do it? So we've been partnering and buying and working with vendors that we think meet those criteria. A couple examples are Looker, that is integrated in our product to provide the premium, intuitive, and easy dashboarding experience. We've been partnering with Qubole also, that provides us a managed intelligent infrastructure management, low maintenance, low ops amount of resources needed. MuleSoft regarding integrations. Snowflake. So we believe at Acquia that data lakes can coexist with data warehouses, and we've been avid and heavy users of Snowflakes in the Marketing Cloud, etc., etc. And you will see that all those vendors have one thing in common, is they provide that managed, low maintenance experience. Now, that being said, there's the other face of the coin that you should be careful about. What you should be doing is, and what you should avoid, is buying lots of point solutions that will create a lot of unnecessary integration and communication between each other. So what you will want to do is to choose a select number of vendors that will provide a unified interface over a wide spectrum of functionalities. And this is critical to the managed strategy, which is, yes, buy outside, but buy carefully and buy only a couple vendors that will provide that unified experience. A good example of that is what we've been doing with Qubole or Snowflake, where we are multi-cloud, so we have AWS and GCP interfaces, and we put in the middle that abstraction, in this case, for example, Qubole, that will provide only one interface for the human user or the API user or any other systems that needs to integrate. And by limiting on one side the number of interfaces and integrations, and on the other side, by getting and buying the right managed solutions, that's how you can build a product that will be data first, open, and machine learning forward. Let's now have a look and focus on ML. So we will really get down to how we've done it for machine learning, and we'll even have a look at one actual example of a machine learning model we have in production today. So this is how our machine learning flow works. First, all the orchestration is handled by Airflow. Then every single configuration is stored in GitHub with the goal of making all the pipeline configurable. The infrastructure is entirely managed by Qubole. They provide that smart compute and storage for us. The artifacts are handled by Anaconda. Again, we've offloaded that to another vendor. Execution is done in Spark, and very important today in this day and age is ML Ops. And that we've been using the open source solution called MLflow. When you look at this, you'll see that, yes, we are data first. So we are, through such a pipeline, we are able to be highly elastic and scalable and process massive amount of data, which you've seen before. We are open. We've been trying to use many open source components, Airflow, Spark, MLflow, and we are obviously ML forward, but ML forward in this case also means that the entire pipeline is configurable, and every single client is going to get the model they need and not just a fixed set or static set of model. They will get something which is that has been tailored to their specific needs. And you will also see that we've been applying what we're preaching. We are thinking managed, which means most of the components you see here are managed by Kubo, such as Airflow, such as MLflow, such as the infrastructure management underneath. And we've also been limiting the interfaces because this pipeline here is cloud agnostic and runs on both AWS and GCP. Now that you have a better understanding of what our simplified machine learning flow looks like, I want to get one level deeper and show you how we've done and how we've developed an actual model. And that's a very recent model called Predictive Sense, which aims at determining what is the best time to send an email to a person. So it starts like this. We use Spark to mine through the entire email event history of subscribers and users. And we build an offline learning data set. We are then going to stream that data through a contextual bandit model. And that model, which is also using an open source project called Vopal Wabbit from Microsoft, this bandit will be trained and we will obtain a new policy. So a new way of determining what is the best time to send an email. We will then, in step 3, compare the new policy, so the new strategy really, with the old one and what has been done before. That will provide us with a lift, and we will be storing both the model and the information such as the lift and the hyperparameters in MLflow. And finally, we will be using the bandit, the contextual bandit model, to score every user and find what is the optimal send time to maximize user engagement as measured by opens, but that goal can be changed if need be. And finally, as far as usage is concerned, for the user, it's really about clicking one button and saying, yes, I want to start using send time optimization for my marketing email campaign. So I hope this was an informative session. And one last thing, Acquia is opening a center of excellence in Pune, India. We are looking to hire skilled engineers with all levels of experience. If you know anyone who's interested, they should apply at acquia.com/careers. Thank you everyone for your attention today. I hope you enjoyed this session. As you saw, when building a platform which is open, machine learning forward and data first, we've been facing a lot of challenges. And at the end of the day, there's 2 recipes we've been applying every single time we made a decision related to architecting or implementing, thinking managed, and limiting the number of interfaces. And we've been applying, especially in machine learning in my team, those recipes when building and creating new models. Thank you very much, and feel free to contact me if you have any questions or if you want to follow up on any of these topics at arnaud.prades@acquia.com. Thank you very much.